With tensions so high over the issue of slavery, the nation's survival depended upon abolishing it. New states were being admitted to the Union in pairs, one slave state and one free. But could that balance be maintained? Missouri's petition for entrance as a slave state in 1819 would not only have broken the balance, but also permitted slavery in a northern territory. What was Congress to do? Henry Clay of Kentucky came up with a solution: admit Maine as a free state and allow slavery in Missouri, but prohibit slavery everywhere else north of Missouri's southern border. His Missouri Compromise held the nation together, but it didn't end arguments over slavery. Victory in the Mexican-American War added vast new lands to the United States. Once again, the balance between free and slave states was threatened. In 1845, Texas joined the Union as a slave state. Congress deadlocked again in 1850 when California came up for statehood. Henry Clay and Illinois Senator Stephen Douglas hammered out another compromise. It was a complicated deal in which California entered the Union as a free state and the South got a new fugitive slave law, which gave slave owners the right to recapture slaves who had run away to the free states. Northerners were outraged to see their black neighbors kidnapped, jailed, and hauled back south without even the right to a trial. Outraged by the law, Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin, a book which drove home to millions the horrors and inhumanity of slavery.
And it's a book that really paints slavery as inhuman. Uncle Tom, whose name has come to mean something that it wouldn't mean if people actually read the novel, was a man who was beaten to death rather than betray other slaves. And not the slave owner, importantly, but the slave overseer was portrayed as being completely inhuman.
But it's a moving, romantic, sentimental novel that was written and plotted to show Americans what slavery did to a family and to individuals, so that Americans would be motivated to become abolitionists and, of course, to fight against slavery. And when Abraham Lincoln met Harriet Beecher Stowe, he said to her, "This is the little woman who started the Great War," because indeed it was a tract or a piece at that time that made Americans take sides on the issue of slavery.
Kansas and Nebraska were the next territories up for statehood. Would they be slave or free? Senator Douglas came up with the answer.
If the people of Kansas want a slave-holding state, let them have it. And if they want a free state, they have a right to it. And it's not for the people of Illinois or Missouri or New York or Kentucky to complain, whatever the decision of the people of Kansas may be.
In the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, Congress decided to let the people make their own decision about slavery. Local self-determination seemed to make sense. But people poured in from north and south, and by 1856, bloody Kansas had become a killing ground as free soilers and pro-slavers beat and murdered each other in the fight for control. Along with briefcases and paperwork, congressmen and senators now brought knives and pistols with them to work. They could see the hatred in each other's faces.